Welcome to the VET S.O.S Veteran Educational Resources Spotlight. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline. Today, we're sitting down with Dan Roby, Vice President of AMU Brand Expansion and Business Development, overseeing brand management across B2B, military, veteran, and international markets. A retired Chief Master Sergeant in the U.S. Air Force, he has served at APUS since 2005 in progressively senior roles. Widely respected in the military education community, he currently serves on the Council of College and Military Education. His teams have helped APUS remain the top provider of education to active duty military and veterans, contributing to its recognition as CCME's 2024 Institution of the Year. Mr. Roby holds a MA in Management from AMU, a BS in HR Management from Columbia Southern, and 2 AS degrees from the Community College of the Air Force. Outstanding. How are you doing today, Dan?
I'm doing good. You made me sound much more important than I am, so I appreciate that.
It, it's the funniest thing in the world, isn't it? Hearing your own bio read, and you're like, huh, I didn't realize I
It
did that, or I don't remember doing that.
right. Other than you retired in 2005, because then you start doing the math and like, oh my, yeah,
The one that always gets me is when someone posts online how old a song is. It's
right,
like,
right,
oh man. So
yeah. That was my junior prom theme song. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. So let's start with your transition story, man. Go ahead and tell us, how your transition out of the Air Force went.
well, it was actually I was one of the fortunate. It actually went pretty easy. In 2005, I actually was set to transfer to Randolph Air Force Base in Texas and be the command chief. But just as I was getting ready to put my house for sale, I got a call from another educational institution wanting me to start their program and ramp things up, and it was for an old upstate farm boy that didn't have very much money, they were offering me a whole lot. So I'm like, I think maybe it's time. Um, so I accepted that position, went through what were the beginnings of transition assistance programs in the services back then. It was very light on information, and they just kind of, I don't want to say check the box, but it was kind of a check the box back then. Thankfully, it's improved dramatically. But so I accepted that position, worked for them for about 3 weeks, realized they didn't care for my airmen as much as I did, and was very fortunate that an old colleague of mine at the Pentagon he was Jim Sweezer, who was the chief of voluntary education for the Air Force, retired and went to work for American Military University. And I kept calling him up and bugging him about, should I be doing this and this? And he finally said, hey, we can't pay you what they're paying you, but why don't you come work for us? And I did. Best pay cut decision I've ever made in my life. And I've been very humbly thankful that I've been with AMU now for 20 years.
That's fantastic. And it's something that we talk a lot about in the transition space, that it's not all about money.
Correct.
I know when I first got out, I chased a paycheck, a certain number, but, it didn't bring necessarily happiness, right? And, so
Hmm.
trying to find those positions that, fulfill some of your why in other parts is just as important as,
Absolutely.
the dollar point that's attached to it. So, um, all right. So tell us about American Military University. What is this?
So, American Military University is the number one provider of education to both military members and veterans. Have been for quite a few years now. We're very excited about that. It's a 100% online university. We have certificate programs, associates, bachelor's, master's, doctoral programs, the whole gamut. And it's like have classes that start, the first Monday of every month. But, it's really important, I think, to point out that it was first started by a Marine Corps officer, Major Jim Etter, and got it up and running back in 1991. And right now, about 2/3 of our active students have reported that they served on active duty when they initially enrolled, and approximately 13% reported that they're veterans. So if you take that and combine with the military dependents and all those type of individuals, we have, and the Guard and Reserve individuals, we have about 91% of our students are military
Wow.
type affiliated. And when you're talking about 88,500 students, that's a lot. But it's a great university. They really understand a term that is used and overused, I think, in the education world, and that's being military friendly. There's saying it, and then there's doing it. And I've stayed with this university for 20 years because they do it. They really know how to take care of our student population, especially our military and veteran communities.
That's fantastic. I gotta tell you, you're quite the professional here, Dan. I got, a list of so many questions, and it very succinctly, you've been able to answer about 5 of them
Awesome.
very quickly. So, just absolutely love it. You're so right, though. But the military ready piece, the veteran friendly. I like the term veteran ready or veteran supportive or something more than just veteran friendly, because anybody can be veteran friendly, and
Right.
in fact, everybody should be veteran friendly, really. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
But are you ready to support, a veteran? And, because truth be told, we bring a lot to the table. But we also bring some baggage with us, and, some things that we have to deal with on a personal level and things like that. And, you know, be able to make that adjustment into the civilian world. So glad to hear
Veteran
that.
ready. Shawn, I really like that term. I hope you don't have it trademarked.
No, no, feel free to use it.
It's excellent. I like it.
All right. So, what are some specific things that AMU does to support the veteran and I'm assuming military connected students as well?
Well, they do a lot of things right to make sure that not only is the education affordable, but to ensure it's a quality education. And I base my whole thought process on this in the fact that I went to 12 schools during my active duty years to get my bachelor's degree done. So I've hit just about all of them, and then I was fortunate enough to get my master's degree at AMU and see what the difference is. But some of the things that they really bring to the table, number one is affordability. For example, for our undergraduate programs, it's at the TA level, so there's no out-of-pocket costs for our military members or their families. Veterans get a huge grant, and so do their families. Books are taken care of, no out-of-pocket costs for books. There's no tech fees for our undergrad programs. There's no application fees, and so it's really affordable. And then they do a lot with transfer credit, which is important in the military world, especially, you go to this school and that school and every school under the sun. And a lot of that is going to transfer right into your degree program at American Military University. But the other really important key part, I believe, is the flexibility on timing. We have our programs start the first Monday of every month. And as you don't always know what you're going to be doing tomorrow or the next day. You may think you're free and clear. Then all of a sudden you get this, hey, you're deploying, or you're getting you got these orders and you're going TDY. So a lot of that jumps down, but when you have classes like that you can kind of change your schedule around and still get your education completed, I think that's really an important aspect to it.
Oh, the flexibility is huge, right? And I was very thankful. I did 2 master's degrees while I was in, and did it at publicly known universities, Oklahoma and Penn State. But I was very thankful to them that they were very flexible. The professors, whatever, were very flexible with the military schedule. And I think that's huge because you're right. Today you may think you know what you're doing tomorrow, but tomorrow comes and next thing you know, it's a whole new world. And um,
Absolutely.
so starting you said every month?
The first Monday of every month.
Okay, so how long do the classes run then?
They're 8 weeks. There
8
are a
weeks.
few 16-week courses splattered in there, but a vast majority, like 99% of them, are 8-week courses.
Okay. And how often do they meet? Is it like an everyday thing, or is it, a couple days a week?
So it's done on the student's time. They're
Okay.
going each week group. They're going to have assignments. They're going to have they have to go in and do answer questions, do the discussion boards. They're going to have quizzes, tests, papers that are due, but everything is based on a week by week basis. So that Sunday at
Yeah.
midnight, Eastern Standard Time, you need to have X, Y, and Z done, and then you
Yeah,
move on to the next week.
absolutely.
So if
Yeah,
you do your best work at midnight or 2 o'clock in the morning, that's when you can do your work, versus having to actually be in a set classroom time.
yeah, that's good, and not to mention we're scattered around the world too, right? So you may not intentionally be
Absolutely.
posting at midnight, but you're posting at midnight because you're somewhere else. And okay, so yellow ribbon. Are you guys a yellow ribbon school?
We are a yellow ribbon school, which is a very important factor. To be honest, it's more important with some other schools than with us. The schools that have a higher price count, it may come more into play. With our rates being so low, it doesn't always really. It's not needed, to be honest, but in some situations it is. So we are a member, and we do have it if a military member wants to utilize it.
That's outstanding. So being 100% online, do you guys find ways to tie to the community? And whether it's giving back or organizing events or participating in things.
Absolutely. It's really phenomenal. And to be honest, that's a big part of my life and has been for my 20 years at the university. Not only do we champion for different causes like the currently right now the Stop Soldier Suicide campaign, the ruck marches, different campaigns that other military organizations are involved in. We sponsor and heavily involved with those. But also I have a team of I think we have like 24 people now on the team. We call them our military outreach team, where they are spread out throughout the United States, and it actually gives our students a face to go with the university.
Oh, nice.
Um, and that's how I started with the university. And I joke and tell people, hey, the good news is you have a face to go with the university. The bad news is you're stuck with this one. Um, but I have a phenomenal team. I mean, we have people on the team that are retired military officers, senior enlisted, education backgrounds, military spouses. It's just phenomenal the degree of expertise that my team has on the table, and they're led by a vice president that works with me, Tonda Navarrete, who is an Army veteran, and she has three directors. Ed Mounts, retired Army Sergeant Major, Rob Hassinger, a former Marine, um, and Chuck Asleben, a retired Army First Sergeant. So we really take our military world seriously, and we like to get out there in the communities and do all sorts of things with them.
That's fantastic. So I'm going to ask you this question, but I kind of laugh when I ask it because you've already given us a ton of reasons. But I'd like you, as we get ready to close, um, tell us why our veterans, our active duty service members, our military connected, family students should attend American Military University. I think you've given us a ton of great examples already. But as we sum up here to get ready to log off, tell us why. Give us that sales pitch why people should attend American Military University.
Well, like you said, Sean, I've given a lot of tangible aspects, but I think the really important piece is the heart aspect. Um, our our military outreach team, folks, all the way up to our president, Nuno Fernandez, they breathe, sleep, and eat and love the whole military community, whether it's a veteran, a family member, active duty. They do everything they can to support them. And it's not about revenue. It's not about registration numbers. It's about taking care of those students. And I the flexibility that they give is awesome. But I'll tell you, one of the things that I love most about AMU is the resources they put into play for career services, led by Christine Muncie, that career services team, that they do phenomenal things to help our military members and our adult community overall, actually, transition or get ready for new positions. But the bottom line one is the support we give for the mental health of our military members. And we have programs in place that have nothing to do with school, but has everything to do with making sure our military members, our veterans, and all of our students are in the right mindset mentally. We have programs that are peer programs. We have programs that give them 24/7 professional help. It's just, I get a little emotional about this, and it really I got goosebumps right now because to me that says it all about our university and how much they really care, and I think that's what sets us apart from any other school that I've been involved in. And there's some really good schools out there, but I think that's what really sets us apart.
Well, well, you one up me. You know, I thought you had a lot of great examples, but that was phenomenal. That having that additional support is key. You know, and I think that's a heck of a selling point for AMU and why people should take a hard look at you guys and attending this school. Well, Dan, I want to thank you so much for joining us today on VET S.O.S. and sharing about AMU. I honestly didn't know a whole lot about it. Going into this, you know, I was familiar with the university, but hearing everything that you've said and everything, this is phenomenal. And I think a lot of people need to take a harder look at AMU and what they have to offer, and especially understanding that you guys or this school cares about the veteran population, the families, and wants to make sure, you know, just, you know, the whole mental health piece of it, that's huge too. And, you know, the ease of working with schedules and just phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure.
And on behalf of the entire VET S.O.S family, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. You can find VET S.O.S on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe and follow us. If you liked what you saw today, check them out. Check out AMU, see what they have to offer, see if it's the right fit for you. And if you have a friend, family member getting ready to go to school, have them check this out, you know, and share the information, share the episode, and let's let everybody know what's going on here at AMU. And as always, remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline.